everyone. We're going to continue on with the commandments of God in Phoenix Journal number 27. I'm going to start on number 8, and we're going to continue. This one is a little long, but bear with me. You must not commit adultery. The literal definition of adultery in your dictionary is the voluntary sexual intercourse of a married person with someone not the spouse. Now, the reason for this law, which still applies now, was that well before and at the time that the commandments were presented by Moses to the people, they were most simple-minded, ignorant, illiterate, and God-fearing because of their previous false teachings given by the religious empire leaders of their time. The problem was that throughout your past history, many young men and soldiers would lustfully spread their fertile seed in the sexual act to many various young, willing women whom they met within their daily lives and in their travels from village to village. Times would not change much, have they? The obvious result was that many women became pregnant, and usually by that time, the man was long gone to war or to the next village, so she would be left alone with the responsibility of birthing and raising her child. Many women could not handle this unexpected responsibility and the desertion of who they usually thought to be their man. Many women, overcome by the horror, shame, and guilt of the circumstance, killed themselves and their unborn by trying to abort the child. Many women were left on the streets, useless, unless they had friends or family who would take care of them. And many women abandoned their birth child, sometimes at the doorstep of a church or orphanage. But also, some would leave the child to die in some dark and desolate place. So thus, the necessity of this law, you must not commit adultery. See law number 15. You must obey the wisdom of God for the responsibility you have of balanced procreation of your species. That's number 15. So in His loving mercy and infinite wisdom, God created the commitment of marriage or wedlock, defined in your dictionary as a legal contract by a man and woman to live together as husband and wife. In the higher realms, it is a very serious and joyful commitment and is called divine union. In this way, He planted the seed of joint responsibility of this husband and wife to each other and to any offspring they produced. This is why marriage is to be considered one of the most serious and sacred commitments to God. Now, we will quote some of the actual teachings given on this subject of the Father's Word by the Master Teacher Jesus Isu Emmanuel from the book, now in print as part of the Phoenix Journal series, entitled, "And They Called His Name Emmanuel, I Am Sananda." Nearly 2,000 years ago, when Master Jesus Isu Emmanuel was asked about the commitment of marriage and the rights of men and women, this is what he said. All good things were given unto you, and you received the laws according to which you are to live. You should adhere to these and additional laws, so that you shall prosper on earth and have peace in your families. Remove the power of the old law that women shall be subject to man, since she is a person equal to man in spirit, respect, and has equal rights and obligations. There are many distortions in the laws, since they were given forth by God and the celestial sons, for men have built them to be suitable unto themselves. When a man marries a woman, he shall pay the most trusted steward the handling of her possessions as a price of security, lest she suffer from lack of her necessities. The price should be calculated in such a way that for each year of her life, 100 pieces of silver should be the basis, measured according to her knowledge, her ability, and her strength, provided her health is not lacking. The price is not to be considered as that of a purchase, for no person may be sold or bought, but as security for the woman, lest she suffer lack. Amount and type of financial security for modern times will be adjusted accordingly. For further clarification of Emmanuel's statements, read Phoenix Journal Express Volume 1 and 2, pages 34 through 40. The bond of matrimony between man and woman should be permitted only if both are of mental competence and capable of leading a marriage in accordance with the law. Note, that is God's law. If, according to predetermined agreement, no price is paid, the law applies. The man must supply the needs of the wife regarding all of her necessities. The inability of a wife to bear children or a man's inability to sire children is no reason for divorce, nor does she or he deserve other opinions or actions. The one and only reason for divorce is that of adultery. That is the destruction or endangering of spirit, the body, or the life of the members of one's own family unit. If a person is divorced by his own actions of adultery, he should be sterilized, for he is unworthy of life and its laws, for he has responded to the selfish, lustful drives of pleasure-seeking and has cast aside all responsible behavior. End of quoting. Now, in the literal translation, in order for adultery to occur, then one or the other, or both of the two adulterers would have to have made the vow of marriage. In God's kingdom of truth, this vow of divine union made between two, a man and a woman, to live together as one, is taken most seriously indeed, because it is a commitment made to the Father within, each to the other, for that entire life stream. It is a contract with God rather than a legal contract of the human experience. This means that a man and a woman who cohabit together as lovers without a so-called legal contract must make the same commitment to God as those who have the so-called legal contract, whether they realize it or not. It is not necessarily always a contract made to God to procreate the species, because many who choose divine union may not choose, be able, or be qualified to fulfill that procreation service to the one Father. Reread Commandment number 6, where we discuss the responsibility of procreation. But both lovers still have the same responsibility as a legally married couple for the offspring they may produce. If they only choose cohabitation because of the sexual lust or selfish reasons, they have thus denied their responsibility to God, and they will suffer the consequences of their actions at the hands of evil. See Law number 13, as you sow, so shall you reap, also known as the law of cause and effect. Does this mean that divorce defined as 1. Dissolution of any marriage bond by legal process or accepted custom. 2. Any radical or complete separation goes against the laws of God and the creation? Yes and no. You see, it depends on the true circumstances experienced by the divorcing couple. For example, since your commitment in life is always first in service to God, then ideally, your chosen partner in marriage must support your commitment as well as his or her commitment to the Holy Father. If, for example, your partner batters you and or your children physically or emotionally, and thus does not support your honor, either his or your and thus does not support or honor either his or your commitment in service to God, then you are no longer bound by your contract or bond of marriage. Why would God bind you and your children to a commitment of suffering and punishment? It is not logical. But if your partner decides that he or she wants to divorce you because you are just no longer attractive to him or her physically and sexually, this is not an acceptable reason for divorce. Let's take that example further. Say your partner is no longer attracted to you and decides to find sexual satisfaction elsewhere. He or she has committed adultery. reread the above quote by Jesus Emmanuel. And if you choose to do so, it is an acceptable reason for divorce. The reason is that not only has your partner broken his or her commitment with you and himself, but in the act of adultery he has broken his commitment to serve God, because by the act of fulfilling his lust he has invited the Antichrist within his temple, or his body. Of course, the choice you make about whether or not to divorce an adulterous mate will ultimately be made by the Father within you. And that is the end of number 8. Thank you.